I'll call the meeting to order. Item 2, roll call.
Chairperson Gagel.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Cordes.
Here.
Members Anderson.
Here.
Fortune.
Here.
Simons. Here. Monan. And Sandal.
Okay, item 3, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, moment of reflection or prayer. Anyone have anything prepared?
Oh my gosh. Lord, lead us tonight in this meeting. Help us to remember to follow your example. Amen.
Okay, item 5, conflict of interest. None, okay. Item 6, approve agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign, motion carries. Item 7, new business. None? Okay, item 8. Oh, I should back up a minute. Try to say we're waiting on Lex for a couple items, or just wait till we get there.
We'll wait till we get
Okay. Item 8, approved consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Is that a motion? Okay, sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 9, open forum. Anyone sign in?
Nope.
Okay. Item 10, approve surplus items for disposal.
I didn't include that in your board packet as it was just updated this afternoon, so.
That was good, cause I was looking.
Crazy. No, it is a really long list. The majority of it are, items
Jeez, it's all
old,
second grade.
second grade.
We have plenty of space now in the second grade.
Right, yeah.
I cleaned out closets.
But, it's all old curriculum, and then the other stuff on the top is just miscellaneous. Nothing significant.
I said Kelly, she was thinking.
I'm sorry, what?
I said Kelly, that's first grade. You've been busy. So are we donating these, or are they just going to the trash, or?
They're so old that they're out of date and I won't be able to sell them again.
Motion to approve surplus item.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11, approve Faye Bryan scholarships amount.
All right, I contacted, we have the Faye Bryan, scholarship funds in, First Interstate, Wealth Management. And, as of January, there was $10,279.20 of available income to go towards, scholarships for this year's senior class. So I sent, that information to administration, and Mr. Sikora and Mrs. Mrs. Sundal came back with, they recommend one $3,000 scholarship, two $2,500 scholarship, and one $2,000 scholarship, and that equals $10,000. And that was their recommendation for scholarships.
And what is the balance? I don't remember, what is the balance that we have to have a,
I believe it's $186,000,
okay,
or not,
$286,000.
$286,000.
okay.
So that's,
So you're saying the $10,000 is what was available? I see
yes,
what's
that was the available interest. So we cannot invade the principal, just use the interest, so.
Just out of curiosity, we have different amounts for the different qualifications to.
Yeah, we score it. No, aren't you on the Spencer is? Spencer and Jill were able to find somebody else to be on that.
So first gets the most, so.
Yeah, first.
Maybe I am now, I don't know.
No, we didn't talk about that yet, but we have a scoring sheet that people score according to what the students write,
Oh,
and then there's some tiebreakers, in there too, so.
So, that is, something that you guys have to approve.
How's that, compared to years previous? Is it up, down, about the same?
Last year wasn't as much.
It's up this year. We usually get 3 scholarships.
Sometimes we give it 1 or 2 almost.
Well, no, cause it hasn't been around that long, so it's just,
I see.
that first year didn't have very much interest.
I would make the motion to approve the recommendation.
Any discussion? Moved and seconded to approve the recommendation. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 12, approve Hayes scholarship amount.
That one, in the past, you guys have only done one $500 scholarship, and that's what it's been for quite some time. So that's what, Mrs. Sundahl recommended.
I motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
That one's the one where it's been, when it's gone, it's gone. And what was left in that, did you say?
There's quite a bit left. There's 16,587. That was your second, Carolyn?
Carolyn, yes. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 13, wrestling co-op discussion, I believe.
Can we wait till?
Yep, Lex Heathershaw is gonna be coming in to talk about that, so let's move to item 14. Softball intent to participate.
Okay, South Dakota High School Activities is adding girls softball. When they added girls wrestling, they just added it and then, didn't, have this step in place for school districts. So then the next year, some schools had girls showing up ready to participate in girls wrestling. There was, some struggles with that. So now with girls softball, they want us to sign a letter of intent, whether we're going to participate as a school sponsored team, or we're gonna participate, the school board approve a transition team, or our school will not be participating at this time. And, my recommendation is that we fill this out and say we're not participating at this time. We don't have anything in preparation for it. That doesn't mean down the road it's out, but for this coming year, that we're aware of girls softball, but we're not participating.
When's the season?
Now, my niece is playing the spring, so I think it's the
I'm guessing
spring.
maybe the spring.
Yeah, but we're not talking about this school year, we're talking about next year.
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna do it next year for sure.
That's what my recommendation is. for
Right.
now.
So if next fall someone would come and pitch it to us, can we backtrack on this?
See pitches.
Good play on words. Softball question.
Right. Can we go back on our decision tonight and allow it to happen then, or not?
The AD's on its way.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, we don't have a diamond, we don't have
Right.
uniforms, we don't have a coach, we don't
Be
have,
quite the undertaking, yeah.
we're gonna need at least more than a year to prepare for this.
I see. Might be our AD right there.
There he is. Okay,
Thank
Mr. Heathershaw.
Good timing or what?
You
Perfect
betcha.
timing.
Good question for you. The softball intent, if we say our school will not be participating at this time, and next fall we decide to have softball, can we go back on this?
I think so. If it's that, I suppose I'd have to ask that question specifically to the state. I haven't specifically asked that question. But I think anytime you have an intent to participate, you just file that with the state, and then they would add you into whatever region. For instance, let's say if we didn't have a football team, and all of a sudden we do, they would get a say. I don't foresee any issue with us doing that.
Okay.
Okay.
I can get further clarification though, as well. But we have to have this signed.
Right.
I'll make sure that, when we send it into the state
And you can let
tomorrow.
me know and I'll send it out to you tomorrow.
Yep.
Was there any interest?
I kinda did a little, I guess, informal survey from our girls, just kinda class to class with them. Minimal. And I actually even talked to Philip about the possibility of co-op with softball, and they were not interested, to my knowledge, because they didn't feel like they had very many people interested either. Tough part, it's in the spring, so then it also is gonna pull away from your track and your golf as well, especially in a small school, and rodeo. We're already spread pretty thin in the spring. I don't foresee it.
More for bigger schools.
Yeah, I don't foresee us, in the near future, coming up with the numbers necessarily. Down the road, possibilities, sure, definitely.
Okay, and your recommendation is not to participate at this time?
At this time, in February.
Okay, is there?
Do you need a motion for that?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Any further discussion? Thanks for the information, Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, let's back up to item 13, wrestling co-op discussion.
Yeah, me too.
That's
Yeah.
you too, yeah.
Okay, fine if I just, right here, you don't need
Yeah.
me to go up there or anything. So, I believe Dr. Pittman forwarded you, a contract that I received from Philip, that they sent to Kadoka as well. They would, it has signatures in place on there for each school to sign an agreement for a 2-year contract with our co-op. In the past, it's been a gentleman's handshake kind of type deal, and they would just like maybe something a little more concrete. The reason for that, and I fully understand and agree with her, Miss Menzel from Phillip, she is the one that does the scheduling. And when you have dual schedules, just like I do with basketball, we schedule those things out a year in advance. So it's nice to know if that co-op is gonna continue in the same place. That's kind of the main reason for us signing early on something like this. Maybe there needs to be more discussion and things like that. However, it's nice to be able to schedule those things so that you can get commitments from other teams, for instance, to the Phillip duel. If we were not a co-op, there's a possibility that, Phillip or Wall or Kadoka, they may not be able to have a dual team with lack of numbers. So you might not host dual tournaments or enter dual tournaments. And the Activities Association requires you to be in, I think, so many duels in order to be eligible for the state tournament duels, which are on Saturday of the state tournament. That would be the main reason, I think, to get signed into an agreement. There's been, obviously discussions of, people breaking that co-op, or maybe us going on our own, or I just wanted to bring it to this team, I guess, to the school board, so that you're aware of it. And I didn't want to all of a sudden just bring it to you in March and say, we need a decision, yes or no. I wanted people to be able to digest that process. However, I want to make it very clear that the last thing I want is any drama or people up in arms over this, especially right now. This is a critical time in our wrestling season, and I fully support that we're the Badlands Brawlers, and I want to see them be successful as athletes, as coaches, as a program, and I think they're doing a great job. I think the co-op has, even in past years, you look at last year, we were third as a team. I think the co-op's done some nice things. However, is there opportunity in the future for our school to have a wrestling program? Possibly. I don't know that that's my decision solely. I don't think it is. I think that's maybe for the board to discuss on, and maybe that's for our wrestling community to discuss on and make an educated decision. No matter what kind of contract you sign for 2 years, I think you want to make an educated decision on that. The other thing I would tell all of us is I would strongly urge us to remember that this isn't about Wall or Phillip. It's about what's best for our kids and what gives them the best opportunity to succeed and become great student athletes. Is that to sign the co-op for 2 years? Possibly. Is it to have a program on our own in Wall as a wrestling program? Possibly. Again, I don't think I have no bad blood on the co-op at all. I think it's been about 14 years that we've been in the co-op. And I appreciate everything the co-op's done for Wall to give our kids the opportunity to go and wrestle. But I know discussion has came up on that with our number rising. Would it make more sense to have our own program? And I honestly, sitting here today, I can't tell you really fully if I'm like, yes, we should sign the co-op, or yes, we should go on our own. I think there's a lot of things to think about. We have a gymnastics co-op and a wrestling co-op. So in the past, it's kind of been Walls taking care of the financials for gymnastics, Phillips taking care of the financials for wrestling, and that's just kind of how it's been. I think there's, those type of things we have to think about. If we bring a program here, is the school board and the school ready to take on the financial responsibility of tournament entry fees, motel rooms, travel expenses, probably another coach that we would have to hire. That's a big thing. But again, I want to make sure it's clear that it's about our kids, and I fully respect and support the Badlands Brawlers for everything that they've done along the way, and I don't want it to create any kind of negativity, especially right now. Just bringing it to the table for you to be able to digest in the next month, and talk to certain people maybe in our wrestling community on what their feelings are.
But we're starting discussion now, we do not have to have a board decision until March.
Correct.
We'll come back on the March agenda. So you as a board can decide what you wanna do for the next month to prepare for that decision.
What is our numbers of our kids here wrestling this year?
So we started a middle school program this year, which you guys know. I think there was like 12 middle school wrestlers, and I want to say, so we had nine in high school. There's 14 weight classes in wrestling. So to have I guess what you would consider a full team, and you wanted a kid at each weight class, which again becomes tough because all kids are in different shape and size. But there is 14 weight classes from 106 pounds to heavyweight, which is, I think you gotta be anywhere from 220 to 285. So there's 14 weight classes, I guess. And we would not, I don't know that we would be able to support a kid in each weight class. Like in our current year, would we be able to have 14? No. We'd be close, but we would not have enough for to support the full system, which doesn't necessarily hurt us, but you wouldn't go compete in duels. You would, I don't think, and I'm trying to be better about, you know, all those things, but you would not go compete in duels. It would be on an individual basis, more so.
We haven't had a full team hardly with the co-op.
This is the most.
Right, the closest we are right now.
Yeah, and this is the most kids I think Walls had in recent memory.
Well, and how many years ago was it that this is the Kadoka had supported the basically the co-op and Wall and Phillip had one. So I mean, it's kind of one of those.
That would have been quite a while ago, I think.
Yeah, at one time I think Kadoka had one half.
Yeah.
When I first came to Wall, Kadoka came over, and he didn't have a full team over.
At first it was Wall, Kadoka,
Yeah.
and then it went over.
I just remember that one triangular, they got done in a triangular in a half hour because we didn't have enough wrestlers. The official got a sore shoulder just going like this one after the other.
It's like, I don't know, I know if you got it going here, that you could maybe build up some more numbers from people that were on the fence too, but I look at like those grade school numbers and some of those classes only have like, what, 15 kids and
Yeah.
4 or 5 boys. It's gonna be, we might have to co-op basketball when we get down to that.
I think Dr. Crippen, you wanna weigh in on the future numbers a little bit? It's really tough to project our 5 years from now.
Yeah, or 5 years from now, and this is a conversation I keep having over and over again. I talked to the superintendent in New Underwood, I talked to the superintendent in Box Elder, and there's a lot of people moving into this area.
Problem is, there's no place for them to move here.
Yeah. Well, you know, is this something that we could look at down the road, that we could be bringing in New Underwood students that wanna wrestle?
Yeah,
And that would be something you wanna be very proactive. I wanna be proactive across the board in every activity to bring in open enrollments or people moving into this community, because we're not flooded. We have a great facility and a great school, why not market it?
right.
And, you know, if we didn't see that happen, who's to say there isn't an option to co-op with New Underwood?
How many tournaments did the junior high go to this year?
I'd have to look back
I
and
don't
see.
know.
I'd have to look back.
I was very
Don't have the
impressed
schedule
with
in front
the
of me.
success that we had with our junior high wrestling program, very impressed. Dylan did a great job with those kids, and those kids, you could just see a real ownership in their program and in their school that they're representing. It really changed those kids for the positive, and they had a lot of buy-in, so I was really proud of that.
Some of those come from Union Center too, and I think they're talking about going to school here in high school. I think we need to have like some kind of wrestling,
You wanna refer this to a committee and appoint it tonight?
yeah, maybe not just the school board, but the wrestling parents too.
You wanna appoint a committee and appoint some parents too?
I guess before the next meeting, we have to have some kind of a meeting and.
Yeah, my advice to, if you're gonna do that, would be, and you can do it when you wish, but the 28th is a Monday, and that's after the state tournament. I think we need to handle our business as a co-op, because that's what we are right now, and we need to fully support that, in my opinion.
I don't wanna talk about it until we.
Yeah, I just wanted you guys to at least
Or we
have
talk.
have thoughts swirling. I think there's a lot of questions right now that maybe we can't answer, but just things that we need to maybe think about, and you know, if phone calls down the road between you guys or others need to be made, then so be it. But I just don't want it to create any issues right now. I just wanted it to be brought to attention, I guess, is all. And I would say maybe meet the week of the 28th with this group that we're talking of, concerned members of our school and wrestling community.
think one thing that we need to look at too is, we just started this junior high program, and I know, Andy, you think it's a success. However, I think we really need to look at how many tournaments that they go to, and what weight classes are they looking, how many kids are actually eligible and practicing and going. Well, that's a big indicator of a successful program, and I just don't think that we have, unless we don't have that information, I don't think that's a real.
Well, that's why I'm
I
saying.
worry about going off of
1 year.
1 year, right?
I can see that. This year,
Or
I would
even 2
vouch that
years.
it was successful, especially for the first year. And I think that's something you can build on. However, I agree.
To me,
1
if you're
year's
gonna
tough.
look at it, I think you need to look at 5-10 year plan. What are you looking in 5 and 10 years? Because you can't just go off of, we're making decisions that are going to affect this program for years down the road. If we split, there's no going back. And that's going to hurt if we come up short and we don't have the numbers and we have, it's not like basketball, you have 5 kids or 7 kids. You have to have kids involved in that wrestling room who want to be there and who want to push themselves. Otherwise, you're never gonna have a successful wrestling team, and that's what you have when you bring those 3 together, in my opinion. It has to be made off of not just parents now, but 5-10 years down the road, what are you gonna be looking at? That's why we co-op. That's why I brought the point up of how many years ago, maybe it was, whatever, 5 years ago that Kadoka was carrying the team. Yeah, we carry the team this year. You know, a lot of other sports are not like that. Wrestling's different.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't know that I think I could back being a co-op, and I think I could back going on our own. I think there's more questions out there that need to be answered. My end goal is what's best for Wall students as a whole. I mean, you even look at kids that don't wrestle right now too, that would they wrestle? I know of 2 right now, and I don't need to divulge those, but that probably would have wrestled had the program been in Wall. So are we taking opportunities away too? Maybe, but I don't think that's a reason to necessarily break the co-op. I'm not saying that.
Right,
Um,
and my thing is yeah, you may have those kids, but that's the point that I get to is, you can have 10-15 kids that go out, but it's gotta be 10-15 kids that wanna be there every day working hard. You know, when you have a kid that, yeah, I'd go out if I didn't have to travel. Well, you can't always take the easy road out. It's
Yeah.
gotta be either I want it or I don't.
Right, I think that's a tough way to put that though too, because I'm just gonna tell you, if it was football, our kids would have even if we only had, 10, 11 kids that could barely support a team, I feel like they would probably rather maybe stay here versus co-oping. Maybe not, I don't know that answer, I guess, but I think part of it necessarily might not be just to travel, but you're traveling to a team you compete against and every other thing too. I don't know, again, I'm super supportive of the co-op right now, but do I think there's opportunities out there that we might need to discuss?
And
Yeah.
that's the thing with that, that's another different thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is when you go into the wrestling program, you talk about in football or in basketball or volleyball or whatever, you're competing against these kids, that's your opponent. But in wrestling, it's not that way. And Spencer, I'm sure you would say the same thing. These kids, when they go into the wrestling program, you may wrestle this kid, but he might be your best friend when you're done. I mean, that's the difference of, it's not really your opponent always, that they're building really good relationships.
No, and I would agree with that. I think they're a family. I think Coach Weber and all our coaches have done a great job, and I support him 100%. I just bring it to the attention, and I hope we make an educated decision on what to do, whatever avenue that may be.
Do you wanna appoint 3 board members to be part of the discussion, the meeting, or?
Sure. We need to have a meeting anyway.
Sometime after the 28th.
You want me to appoint them?
So you're saying you're on
Probably
it?
chair of the committee.
I can be.
Spencer? Anyone else? Okay, Elaine? You just want two, or do you want a third one?
You wanna know?
Are you
Okay.
gonna
Ask for some community.
If you, the two.
Ridge or Tommy maybe want to too, I'm not sure.
Okay, I can let,
they're not here.
yeah,
Right, they're
Yeah.
not here, make them do it.
That Tommy
but if you want to.
maybe not. She
Give me
checked
names
out.
of people that you want in on this.
How about us two for now, and you can ask anyone else?
You give me, yep, give me some names and I'll contact them and set up the meeting.
I would say just parents of the, I don't know how deep to go, varsity.
I would also tell you to maybe include your AAU program because they know the numbers on your lower end.
I'm just afraid if you get 20 people there.
No, not all of them, I'm saying like your
No.
AAU coaches
Can you
maybe.
give me
What
six
about
names?
what about the parents of the kid, that just moved here?
And feel free to text them
Thanks,
later.
Pete. What about
And
are they?
I will contact
Yeah, they
them.
would come maybe.
Maybe Elaine and Spencer get
Because you
together
might
and
throw
come up
out a
with some
name
names.
that doesn't wanna be on there. Just text me, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be a real easy decision if your crystal ball would tell you what's
Oh, yeah,
going
it'd be
on.
good.
Yeah,
In
get one
10
of
years
those
from-
magic 8 balls.
But mine's broke, so,
Yeah,
you know, 2
No.
years from now, what it looks like around here would be, then we could say what to do.
yep,
It's a toughie.
yep.
Definitely a
Alright.
tough one and just want what's best for our kids is all, so.
Well, thank you,
Yep.
appreciate the information. Okay, we'll move to item 15, K through 5 principal report, Mr. Sikora.
I got 2 items today. We're still working on a comprehensive need assessment, and our last meeting, we came up with the strengths and weaknesses in the elementary school and Big White, and then with the middle school and high school. And, what we're doing is gonna send out those to the staff, and then the staff will vote on what, we want to address in staff development. Is that correct? And then tomorrow, the elementary grades 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to the Rapid City Rush game. I'm feeling a gamma.
Oh, no, you're healthy, man.
I'm feeling the.
You're so healthy.
I'm feeling the gamma strain of COVID coming on here, brand new strain. So we're looking forward to that.
How many grades?
2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
So you gotta take like 2 buses.
And the 14 passenger. He's our bus driver for tomorrow on that 14 passenger.
Sounds like they're really excited.
All the kids are excited, and I saw Mr. Sikora jumping up and down excited earlier.
No, I don't think so. That's in my.
Okay,
Any
any
questions?
questions? Thank you, sir. Move on to item 16, 6 through 12 principal report. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple things to, make the board aware of, conferences that will be next, Wednesday and Thursday. And also we'll be doing a 9th grade registration as part of that, Kelly is informing. And, on Wednesday of next week, the seniors will be going to Pier for the day, for the legislative session. The sophomores and the juniors will be going to Sturgis for the day, for the career fair that's being hosted there. And so, yes, grade school will be empty tomorrow, high school will be empty next Wednesday. And then, there are some staffing things to talk about, but I understand we're gonna do those in executive session. So I will close my.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, item 17, business manager report.
We received our large impact aid payment this month, so, it's not included in the financials that was sent out to you in your board package, but that was over 600,000. And then, that's a, well received, last year was a lot earlier, so it's nice that we finally got it.
Getting nervous.
Huh?
Were you getting nervous?
No, but I got on the bank account today and saw it, and I was pleasantly
Right.
so. And then just as a, reminder, school board petitions are due February 25th at 5 p.m. by 5. That's it.
Okay, any questions for Amy? Thank you. Item 18, Superintendent Report.
Okay, legislative report, Senate Bill 46 that protects fairness in women's sports, passed both chambers and is signed by the governor. This is very helpful, I feel, in schools. I know that you might find that some that don't feel, but you know, we don't have to make the decision, the state made the decision, and if somebody opposes it, they can go to the state level and not to the district level, and we find ourselves in some type of struggle. Senate Bill 71 that increases the tax credit limit and allows for foster students to access the Partners in Education tax credit. We're opposed to that because of, it's in support of private schools, and it will impact some funding that we receive here, or funding opportunities that we have here. But it's passed both chambers, so we'll see where that ends up. It is quite an increase. It's like over 150% increase from what they allow. Let's see here. Killed were, I'm looking for bills that would affect us. The one bill that we need to talk about, and I know that it will get your attention, and that's the critical race theory. It's not done yet, okay? But here's the deal. I'm not in support of critical race theory, I'm not. But I don't want this to pass. It's not taught in the school district, and if it was taught, take care of it. But that's local control for you. If the state passes this bill, that is a way for the state to come in and mandate our curriculum. And this might be, in your opinion, a good thing now for critical race theory and the things that they're talking about, but down the road, it's gonna be something else. Okay, now last fall, we had a discussion about our marijuana policy. Now, some of you might not wanna have that policy or even have it on campus, but we have no choice because that's state law. And that's a mandate that's put on us, and when I did my accreditation review, I had to show that I had a policy for medical marijuana. You have to stop and think, as a board and as a community, how much local control are you going to let go of?
I will say this, cause I do disagree with you on this. The state already does come in and mandate what we teach, so if they don't pass this, it will end up sooner or later in our curriculum. I mean, it's either going to end up in what we purchase, or it's going to end up in our state requirements when they pass it. That's why, to me, it's important that states go ahead and do something ahead of time versus waiting for your federal government or your curriculum. I mean, to me, I disagree with you on that. I think this is our local control. This is the way our state is stepping forward and taking the initiative to do something before the federal government or before it ends up in our curriculum. I mean, you almost saw that in our social studies standards.
It did not show up in social studies.
It was in there.
It was
And then
not
they
in there.
rewrote it. It was.
I did the research on it, it was not in there.
Well,
Critical race
people
theory
who were
was not in
specialists
those
and looked at
standards.
them, they looked at it and said otherwise. So, I'm not, I mean, we obviously disagree on that, I'm just giving you my side of the thought on that.
I'm just letting you know, anytime you let the state have some local control, you're giving a little bit of piece of your power. And so I'm not in favor of this CRT, but what I'm telling you is, think about it before you support it. Because you are giving up local control. Now, you go back up to Senate Bill 46 that protects fairness in women's sports. that is a good thing to let the state mandate, because it could cost us if we have a situation where we're trying to restrict for somebody to being in a sport that we don't feel that they should genetically be in. I'm just telling you, think about what you're giving up to the state every time. The state of Hawaii only has one school board. In the whole state, it's state mandated.
And most states used to not even have a state board. That came down from the federal government years ago, that states pretty much started having to have state boards.
Be
Before it was
careful
all-
with your local control.
One other bill that, since you're talking about that, if you don't mind handing it, I
Go
can-
ahead.
H Bill 1255, it went down in committee, however, I think they are going to try and smoke this out, and I think that our public should be made aware of this. And I talked to other people, and they do have kudos for our Wall School Board, because 2 years ago, they changed the law, and it has to do with, how, school boards meet. Basically, you can meet and not have official meetings, is kind of how I understood it. But one of the things that it says is, the wording was bad, because it says you are required to have open forum in, regularly scheduled meetings. However, and from the sounds of it, there's only a handful of boards that have chosen to do this. So only like we would have, if we had a special meeting, we wouldn't have to have open forum, or whatever you call it. However, they're trying to get this changed, and I do agree with them, because you don't want the public shut out of special meetings. And I did speak on this bill, because when you have a special meeting, that's typically an important meeting. They're saying you have to have this, and you do want public input, you want public opinion. And so if they smoke this out, I think that as a board or as our community, we should support this, because we should allow our public to speak at all of our meetings, whether it's a special meeting or a regular one. So, I
Then
think
we
it's going
always
to get
put-
smoked out, but.
That we always put open forum on the agenda?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Rapid City, they're actually in a lawsuit right now, over this, and they tried to argue that, Rapid City is not required, that this didn't need to go into a lawsuit, and the judge disagreed with them and actually kind of verbally told them, in not such nice words maybe, that, no, it is important to have an open forum, they do have a leg to stand on. However, they voted against the public on this, because it says in there that it's regularly scheduled, so only their monthly meetings, basically, that they scheduled, where they allowed for mandated to have open forum. So I think somebody went back and looked, and it's like, only half of their meetings do they even allow open comment.
And that's the regular meetings, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're talking about special board meetings, so
Yeah.
like last month when we had our training,
Yeah.
we would put open forum on there and allow somebody to say something before we had our board training.
Yeah, and she said, the lady that I spoke with said she has went around and done a lot of research. She said Sioux Falls is really good about this, they always allow open comment. She said we're good, she just named a handful that Rapid City apparently is one, but this goes for all boards, like your county commission meetings, your city meetings,
Yeah,
yeah,
but it
It's a-
also includes your special board meetings,
yes.
not just your regular board meetings.
I believe it's a good bill, I read through it and I think it should be changed. And the lawyer that spoke on it said there is no precedence for the term regularly scheduled meetings, and so that's why they're appealing it right now. I don't know where it'll end up in the lawsuit, but. H Bill 1255, I would highly suggest that we support, just to support our public. And an official meeting, he brought that up too. He said an official meeting has been, that's obviously in a lot of law terminology or however they do it.
Okay. School calendar, I sent the rough draft off to you. Again, this is something to look at for this month. Next month is the approval. I did have a request for information on that number of hours. I sent that out to you as well, and I have it on your board files, to review. I would have to say this year, we're probably gonna be pretty high in the number of hours we're in, cause we've only had a late start so far, but that's what we've had in the
change.
past. You think so? We're gonna
Oh,
get a
yeah.
bunch of moisture? Okay.
I was gonna make a suggestion on that calendar that we go back into, regular. Can you bring it up there?
Oh, let's see, where did I put it? Sorry.
I have it printed off.
Okay.
I think I got it here.
No. Don't do that.
Looking at this is my only suggestion. In April, when we go the 14th, that's their Easter break on that Monday.
Yep.
My only suggestion would be to move that 14th to January 3rd, switch those days, so they would still have that Friday off, and they would come back January 3rd.
Okay, and I sent out reasons to the staff for that one, and that is, the second is a paid holiday for the classified. If we wanted the classified, any of the paras come in, then that impacts them, and one of the things for the comprehensive needs assessment is we need to involve our paraprofessionals more in our professional development.
Right, so what I'm saying is, could you take that 14th and move it to January 3rd, and then take that 3rd and have that be their, day that they do their in-service?
So you don't want, what you're saying is take away the in-service on the third?
Right, and move it to the 14th of April, and switch the 14th.
Actually, this in-service on the third was taken from the 20th of January, well, the 21st this year. So, in order for consistency, I'd recommend keeping that in-service somewhere in January and February.
Can you move it to the 6th and put the 14th on the 3rd then?
Yeah,
I know you'll probably wanna go get that approved from the staff too.
yeah, I'll send it back out to the staff.
I think the staff wanted an in-service day before they came back from Christmas break, is why there was a in-service day on that day.
That was their request, is to have a day to prepare everything, so that they don't come back. So they basically don't have to come back on the second to do it, so, cause that's what teachers do. Lose a day off to come in and make sure they're ready for it, so.
I just think that I don't want them to give up. This was one of the things that we had talked to them about in the past, and I think you guys remember it too, is our kids have such long days and they have long school years, and when we have a Monday off and then turn around and make them go on Friday, it's not really giving them a break, I guess.
It's one of those years where Labor Day is on the 6th and, need to get out by the 26th, so there's not much flexibility.
What do you consider your half days? You said that too in that email, I can't remember what are half
Is
days?
it 12 o'clock? Is that when?
How many hours do you figure for a half day?
Yep.
It's 4.
Mm-hmm.
we, I mean, you're gonna have to get this change approved by the teachers.
I'll send it out to the teachers. Yep.
Either or.
You know, it's tough because you're limited on your length of Christmas vacation and everything with the way the dates are set this year. So. Okay, and let's see, what else do I have here? The, sports complex turf, we have repairs that need to be done, and then the bill sent in for the warranty. We're just coming back, the decision, they thought the decision was that you were going to take care of that this summer, and I'm just making sure that we can schedule it, and move forward with the plans.
I think so.
So you said once you send that, once we get it fixed, then we can send it in to them?
Then we
Is that
can,
what you said?
yep,
Well,
correct?
the company that did our turf is no longer in business, so if we potentially may have to, last year our attorney said we would have to fix the turf before we can, pursue any legal action. So as far as trying to get our, cause it was still under warranty.
And what about the boardwalk bid, is that,
That's what, we fixed that this,
that's fixed,
this,
right?
yeah, that's fixed, so that would be also,
Included in the.
Are we gonna get any warranty when the company's not?
Well, the company that went out of business was subcontractors. We actually went through Sam Fisher.
right.
They subcontracted it, the subcontractor was out, but Sam Fisher's still there. And they're the ones that have the warranty.
So
Yeah,
you
the-
visited with us
And he's in business, I was just recently at a school, or a business manager meeting, and other schools in the area are looking to do track work with him, or with that company, so he's in business, it's just the turf company that he subcontracted is not in business, but the warranty is through Fisher Tracks.
Okay.
It's just a big bill, so we have, I mean, this turf repair
Well,
is.
then, we probably need to move forward with it, we're gonna end up being too big of a time frame and then not having to pay for it all ourselves.
So we don't need a motion. Consensus.
Just a consent that we just move ahead, and then I'll keep you up to date on it, just, I don't wanna bring this expenditure and you go, whoa, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about that, so. And this decision was made prior to me being here, so just get us back on the same page.
Right.
Does it say somewhere how big it is?
What's that?
Does it say somewhere how much it's gonna cost?
It's around 80,000, I believe.
Hopefully we don't have to pay.
Well, we'll have to pay for it initially, it's just hopefully we can.
Part of it back or all of that.
But there's also going to be, if we do proceed with legal action, there's gonna be some costs associated with that, of course, as well. So, those are things that you guys need to consider. It needs to be fixed regardless, so. And I know that Lex has done quite a bit of research into different companies. And we need to get in the books for who that he had chosen or who they had found to do the repair, so it can get done before football season.
first
Right.
thing is use the weather. So on the outside of that track, and you guys probably discussed this in the building committee before, you know, there's that gap. They fixed that then on the outside.
Like at the chain link fence.
Yeah, there was, I mean, it was like,
What, I know they put some stuff in between, some kind of rubber sealant in between, but, that's the only thing that I can see. And the problem, I think, with that, and I'm not a concrete guy, but we had people come in 2 or 3 times to put concrete in, and I think that was one of those add-on, additional, concrete job that they just
it
did.
would've been done the other time.
Yeah, but they didn't do it that way.
Okay, so I think the consensus is to move forward.
Okay. And, last thing I got, School Board Appreciation, February 21st through the 26th. Thank you very much for your service. Any questions?
No?
Alright, that's all I got.
I move we go to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel according to SDCL 1-25-21.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.